Hey, really excited for you to hear this episode with Nate Spangle. This guy is absolutely crushing it out in Indiana. He's making $500,000 a year in essentially his first year and doing some really interesting things on Instagram. His sales process and who he's selling to is super unique. This one is going to be an absolutely killer for you to check out. So, and after you watch it, make sure you let me know what your thoughts are, questions. I'm happy to jump in and help. So, a couple other quick updates. Again, I'm going to keep saying this on some of the intros here. I've rebranded to Local Media HQ. You probably know why that is. If not, check one of the last episode. But just keep an eye out for that brand, whether it's in the newsletter, YouTube, everywhere. I'm trying to have that be the brand because, again, we're building more than local newsletters. We're building local media companies or brands. Number two, my local newsletter OS, the software that I'm building, it is very, very close to being available. Sign up for the wait list, and I will reach out to you sometime soon to be able to check it out. Get a discount if you start on the wait list, because I know you'll be one of the first people to use it and support me and support this software that I think is going to grow into something amazing. Right now, V1 just helps you completely create the newsletter. V2, V3 is going to be incredible because there's so many other things it's going to do, much more than the newsletter. We'll probably rebrand that one a little later as well. And then finally, I've got the free Discord community that I just launched. Again, I just want an easy way to chat with people. I love connecting with people, answering questions, helping where I can. And I get tons of ideas from all of you watching this who are doing things yourself. And I love to learn all about that. So please jump in there. We'll chat. I'm probably going to do a office hours help, something like that call, probably the week after Thanksgiving. So jump in there, ask me a question, and yeah, let's become friends and share everything about local media. All right, on to the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Local Media HQ podcast, not the Local Newsletter Insider podcast anymore. Hopefully, you know we rebranded, but I am stoked to have Nate Spangle on. Him and I talked, I don't know, a month ago, and I was blown away by him, and I am really excited to talk to him again, and I think you should be excited to listen to this one. So anyway, thanks for being here, Nate. Really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm excited to talk a little bit about the journey and share some of the lessons that we've accumulated along the path.
Absolutely. I know you've learned a lot of things. You're doing a lot of great things that are maybe not different than everyone else, but I think you're succeeding in a way that I think a lot of people want to be where you are, right? So I was like, okay, great. Let's have you on and tell us how you got there. So yeah, why don't you give everybody a quick intro to kind of how you got into this space, when, and whatever you want to do to intro people to you.
Yeah, I'm Nate. If you couldn't tell by the hat and the sweatshirt and the sign back here, I'm in
Branding
Indiana.
already less than number one, right?
Yeah,
Branding.
come on. I'm in Indiana. I live in the capital here, Indianapolis. And I started a media company called Get In. Get Indiana is the full name. And I started a podcast called Get In. So, full company called Get Indiana, podcast called Get In. The podcast started as kind of like another regional version of how I built this. Like, I feel like every big city has something that's similar to that, where they interview business leaders and talk about what's going on, and no one listens to any of them. They're so hard to grow. But I loved it. Like, getting in front of the microphone and getting to dive into people's lives, like, really gave me a lot of life. And after this was at my previous company, I was working at a tech startup here in town, and we started this podcast to, like, just talk to the Indiana tech community, blah, blah, blah. No one listened to it. Our biggest sponsor is like on the verge of pulling out. And I was like, oh no, this is my favorite part of my job. Like, I don't want to lose this. And so I started putting out social snippets of the podcast. No one watched those. So I started to put out like more auxiliary Indiana content. My top 3 recommendations for coffee shops, or best bachelor parties within a 5-hour drive of Indianapolis. Just like things that would be beneficial to Hoosiers. There's just a feeling when you say Hoosier, it's like different than being from, I don't know, it just matters here. So it was all about Hoosier content. It's a really interesting name. It's not really, people like aren't really sure where it came from or how it ended up getting the thing, but when you are a Hoosier, you have that local pride. So I started putting out content all about the Hoosier state, And it started to catch on. Like, whether people called me a moron and said they didn't agree with my recommendations is fine. Like, people were still watching. And the big like turning point that took me off the sideline of entrepreneurship, like into the thick of it, was the Indianapolis 500, which is the largest single day sporting event in the world. 300,000 people, you know, descend upon Indianapolis and Speedway, Indiana for this race. It's huge. And if you've never been there and you're like, oh, it's life changing, literally life changing. And I was like, okay, we need to do something big for the Indy 500. And so I put out a video. I was literally walking into my day job. I put out a video and it said, I'm on a mission to be the first truck in the infield of the Indianapolis 500, and I'm going to throw the world's first all Indiana tailgate. So everything from burgers to beer to breakfast to brats, buns, every aspect of our tailgate was going to be sourced from Indiana. And I documented the whole journey. I didn't own a truck. I had to go buy a truck off Facebook Marketplace. Like I literally spent $3,000 on like this beater. I went all in. Like it went crazy. And it got, I mean, at the time I had like 7,000 followers. So like enough to think I was cool, but not that many. Like no one's buying spots. Like no one's buying sponsorship on a 7,000 person or 7,000 follower account. But throughout those 6 weeks, I got almost 1 million views on social. I gained 15,000 followers, all Indiana based, and I made $10,000 in sponsorship as we were growing. Like people wanted us to make videos about their meat market or about their local brewery or a lot. Like as I came in, and I mean, I drive this 1986 Dodge pickup truck into their like parking lot, and they're like slinging a bunch of beer on the back, and we're like marketing how big of a community asset they were. And from there, after the Indy 500, I walked into work and I said, this has been fun. I'm going to go pursue this media thing. And by the way, I'd like to acquire the podcast and take it with me. And that was that moment we were off to the races. Wow. And that was June of 2024.
Okay. So this is not that long. So you've only been doing this technically on your own since call it 18 months?
18 months. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you'd been doing it longer. Wow. Okay. It makes it even more impressive.
The podcast started in 2023. But it was it was like under my previous company. I was a co-host on it, but it was like more tech and entrepreneurship totally focused. Like not that much. Like I've had athletes and nonprofit leader and like just Hoosiers doing inspiring things. That was kind of how I changed it from business and entrepreneurship to anyone that has ties to the state of Indiana that's doing inspiring things. Those are the stories that I want to tell. Since then, we've grown our full-time team. We've grown our part-time team. We've gotten almost 70 million views in the last 12 months. Like if you go trailing 12 months across all social media, we've grown our newsletter list to 25K. We're closing in at $500,000 in revenue this year. So like, that's what we're kind of out there chasing as we're in the start of Q4 right now, or guess like halfway through Q4. And we're having a lot of fun while we do it.
Man, interesting numbers throughout the end, man. You're freaking crushing it. Okay. I thought you've been doing it longer. So those numbers are like crazy, even more impressive. So, okay. So you started it with, well, obviously you started the podcast, but then I would say it sounds like you started then with Instagram, essentially. When did you get into the newsletter side?
Okay. So my goal in the short term, like when I first started, it was like, I can trade being an influencer. I hate the term, but it's like one thing. It's like a career path now. Yeah. Like I can trade videos for money to pay my mortgage, right? Like I can trade videos for money to like put food on the table. So I did that a little bit at the beginning, and I did some freelance marketing for other people, like pushing the buttons for like other people's accounts, just like I didn't want to start a marketing agency, but I had enough like local relationships where I could do that so that I didn't lose my house. So that was the start. And then within 3 months, the goal was, or as quick as possible, was to get to all sponsorship. So like everything would be through year-long partnerships where, I was kind of like a content creator for hire, where like they would have a pool of videos. Like for the year, I'm going to do 6 videos for this brand. But it's not like right now, it's spread throughout the course of a year, and they pay quarterly. So that way I would have a little bit more predictable revenue. From there, I realized that like the more assets that I have, the more thing like these like one video can move the needle sometimes, but like seeing it in a newsletter or hearing it on the podcast and like kind of grouping all of this together is a way to build a more predictable revenue model and a bigger business. So we launched the newsletter in okay, so June, it would be that following October. That was when our statewide newsletter, where we were going to share positive news, uplifting stories to the state of Indiana. So it started in October of 24. So we just rolled over a year. We've set like, we send it now 2 times a week.
Okay.
So like we've sent over 100 editions of it.
Okay. Awesome. So about
And
a
then
year
from
for
there,
that.
yeah, and then from there we also started some like more localized. So one in South Bend, Indiana, which is in northern Indiana, and one in Fishers, Indiana, which is a suburb of Indianapolis. So we have statewide newsletter has the biggest reach, then these two smaller communities. So now we're up to 3 there. And the thought process being, okay, well, sometimes you want, there's a story that's super relevant in these smaller markets that will also be relevant to the bigger audience. So how do we like start to, conglomerate more or like gather more eyeballs together there?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So you started with the state of Indiana, then you essentially
Yeah.
launched. Do you want to talk about the Fishers one? Because are you good with talking about what happened
Yeah,
there? Or
absolutely. Yeah.
okay, because that's actually how we met. Because I actually knew the guy who started the Fishers one through another friend of mine, um,
Yeah.
and then that's how I found out about you. So you want to talk about
Yeah.
that? How that happened?
So, again, the piece of it is that we have a statewide newsletter, we have a statewide podcast, and we have my social media. Like that is so tied to me. And my goal was to continue to build out like an actual company that's not just like, Nate posts videos, Nate does this, Nate does it's like it's a full company. Because some people don't like my videos. Like I'm really energetic and I scream at the camera and I'm like, maybe not scream, but I'm very excited
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
And like some people are like, dude, you got to chill out. And so I wanted to build a company that multiple styles of creators could find a home in, whether you're a blogger, whether you're like to make videos like me, or you're a newsletter writer, whatever it might be. There's a place for you to write about the state of Indiana and your experience and share what you love about it. So early on, I knew I was building that direction. We got the first opportunity when we met someone from South Bend. We started that from scratch. So, like investing, oh man, like $1,000 a month or whatever into Facebook ads to grow your list, like rinse and repeat there. The difference is we were really intentional about having someone in the market. We think that that's what's happening with rural America is a lot of times it's getting like rolled up to someone's writing about a town that's 45 minutes away or whatever, and they don't really know the town. So it was important to me to like, if we're going to cover this area, we want someone in the market to be like the face or the person. So that was when I got introduced to Skylar. Skylar started the Fisher's Digest, I think in 2023 also, maybe late 2022, early 2023. And he became a staple in the community there. Like he grew it to 5,000 subs pretty organically. Like he spent a little bit, but like a lot of it came organically. And he had like a 75% open rate. And just like people loved this thing. It had like a community, like cult following behind it. Then and what he realizes is it's really hard to make a significant business with uh I mean Fishers is a town of like right around 100,000 people, like just under. So it's like it's close enough to Indianapolis, but it wouldn't be a localized newsletter. Like it would be the Indianapolis newsletter. So that part's been that was where I was like, okay, well, you could come in. We already have these relationships with our statewide sponsors. They want to like be able to get into South Bend as well as they want to be able to get into this north side of Indianapolis suburb. And so the monetization strategy was a little bit different there, but the content and having more distribution in those markets made a ton of sense. So we ended up like talking about partnering and finally we just got to the point where he was like, I think that we're the right company to like acquire the newsletter from him and start to be able to one, sell our advertisers into it, as well as, if I have a video and I'm in that area or I'm like hosting an event or something up there, I want to be able to like manufacture a little virality in that market.
Okay. So yeah, no, that sounds great. So you acquired it from him. Um, Yeah, which is great. Again, this is something that I think a lot about. Okay. And are you so you have statewide two, and then are you launching more? Like what's the plan for the future?
Well,
Um,
we're building out our systems with the Fishers one. So acquiring this newsletter, figuring out the systems of how do we put it in our style and voice, and like, we're not new, or we're not hard news. Like, you're not going to hear about like death or murders or whatever you see on. We're storytellers.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
are telling positive stories about what's coming to your community, and we're not strictly events based. I know there's a lot of events based newsletters where you can like plug in a lot of AI and just like roll that out, which is like there's a business to be built around that. Ours is like written by a local in your community. Yeah, like is some of it like, AI prompted or this, that, the other thing to like help source some stuff? Yes. But at the end of the day, like Caitlin writes our newsletter in Fishers, and she's a mom, has three kids, like lives in the community, and is someone that people know and will see out. And she writes about some like new restaurants opening up and this development, and the school board voted on this thing, and tells stories of like what's going on in her community. Um, Goal being we get the operation down pretty soundly. We see how our advertisers feel about, hey, are you getting good ROI? Are you feeling good about being in this market? And then, yeah, go try to repeat this and continue to aggregate out across the state of Indiana.
So basically, launching more newsletters in different parts of Indiana. Is
Yeah.
that a good way to put it? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
like a one of our like growth levers that we're pulling for the
Yeah.
future, because like my social media, like I have 72,000 followers on Instagram, and I go out and do a lot of things. Like I'll show up in Evansville, Indiana, and so being able to say, hey, we're gonna be in town next week. Like you are the Evansville newsletter or the South Bend newsletter is a smaller node on this bigger network, but it's all faces and Hoosiers and community that everyone like has this pride to like get in behind and support.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. This is the model that I'm trying to do myself in certain ways, and I think a lot of people should be thinking about as well, which we'll get into because of monetization. Obviously, I'm sure people heard you say 500,000, which we will definitely need to get into. But before we do that though, on the social side, so you just mentioned, so you have 70,000. So that's you personally, right? This isn't Get In or Get Indiana or anything like that. This is
Get
you
in
personally.
Get Indiana has like 11K on Instagram,
Okay.
and is run I have a person who runs that account, and he just like crushes out like local, like, again, uplifting news, like not anything that's like controversial or
Mm-hmm.
bad, but like, oh, new restaurant opening up here,
Mm-hmm.
or Purdue going to the Final Four, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so how do you think about the fact that you personally have 70,000? Is that a big part of the revenue? Like you've almost, it sounds to me, and you tell me where if I'm right or wrong here, that like even though it's in your name, it's very clear you are making content that is always hyper relevant to the brand. That is it almost like your name is synonymous with the brand, and like do the advertisers understand that? Like how do you think about that difference? How should people watching this be thinking about that?
Yeah, I think that early on people were buying a chunk of me, like they were
Mm-hmm.
buying the relevance that I had, like kind of. I mean, we did, oh my gosh, I think about campaigns we did, like the Indy 500 one, and we rolled that into, I memorized every high school mascot in the state of Indiana. Like, and like we were reciting them on video, and people were like watching a live stream of me like play Indiana GeoGuessr. And like it was just like I made this Indiana like my identity, a ton of it. And so brands were like, oh, we want to like, we want Nate to like, do something with our brand because, he's doing a good job of staying relevant there. And I knew that that was like short term, easy, like relative, to get to $100,000 in annual partnerships. Like I think it was 7 months, maybe 6 months, from June to the end of the year. Like we had brands sign on for year long deals where it was like a couple of videos for me being on the podcast to be an advertiser there, and it was very much like, okay, Nate has this social media following, he'll take care of it, like he will, that'll be worth it there. What we've built out since then is I don't write any of the newsletters, I don't write the blog content on the website, like these other properties, like yes, our biggest partners get like I'll go and do a video with them, but like we have partners that come on and are like and are doing the couple $100 a month, because I own a chocolate shop in Fishers, which is cool. Like, I'm probably not going to go into the chocolate shop and post a video about them. Um, but like, the reason that the numbers work is because we do have the statewide partners mixed with the localized partners, and you're not just relying on the local, because people do like to see their local partners in or local companies in the newsletter, and advertising there. It can make an impact for their business. I think it's hard to like, pay your mortgage and feed the kids with just the localized ad revenue.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Okay, so yeah, let's just get into this monetization stuff because it sounds like you have this down. I mean, as well as anybody. So, maybe let's start just high level. How did you get to this? Such a high revenue amount. What type of advertisers are you getting? I don't know. I have a million questions, but just start there.
Yeah.
Start wherever you want.
Okay. So it all started with like building up the social following. So like when I got to 30 or 40,000 followers on Instagram, but I was able to, I made it in a style which like non-Instagrammable brands were drawn. And I was from like a tech and entrepreneurship background. So like I was looking at the brands that had the largest budgets, but got the lowest amount of likes and views. Right. So if you think of like the big corporates that are like staples, whether it's insurance companies or healthcare or whatever it is in your communities, they have, I don't know, what's the marketing department at the biggest insurance company in Utah? Like, 10 people.
Millions.
And yeah, and like they're spending lots on salaries, but like when they post on Instagram, I get like,
Of course. Nobody cares.
let's say the team is 12 people and they're getting 7 likes. Not even every employee on your team is liking your Instagram post. Like, that's kind of interesting. And I was like, okay, hey, XYZ, like one of our biggest partners is Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. They're amazing because they like it snapped with them so quick, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're all things Indiana. What we want to do from a content perspective is provide value to Indiana. Like, this makes so much sense. And so they became our biggest partner. We obviously like have to prove that you're a little bit legit and that you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. But like I was taking kind of like they would put out a blog post that said like top Christmas tree farms in Indiana. And I would say, cool, let's turn that into a video. We'll post it collaboratively on Instagram. Then we'll put it in the newsletter, and then we'll put it here. And like it just like seamlessly integrated there. But like, so for the lesson here would be look for who has the biggest marketing budget and is getting the smallest amount of views, likes, impressions, all that jazz. And granted, we are not just a newsletter business. We're a media company. So like we've been lucky to build up before we monetize, like we built up brand equity on social media. Like we got some up there, but like now we have enough properties that it's buying into like this whole thing. It's like you're going to get 4 videos this year. You're going to get 12 podcast ad reads, and you're going to get 12 newsletter title spots. And like, that's been where we can get these bigger partners, because like, if I was charging even like $1,000 to one of these big, like $1,000 spend, just like, they're like, that investment isn't worth, like we're talking about like their budgets are big. So if it's like these bigger spends over a course of a year, and we take them from their average video got 200 likes to, let's say even a video does like not so great, we're still getting 8 to 10,000 views on a video. We're still getting 7,000 impressions on one of their newsletter spots, or like a localized one, we're getting 2,500 newsletter impressions and like, clicks and all that jazz. So, the key there from a monetization standpoint was to work with brands that, could at times be more challenging to make Instagrammable or to make social, and then figuring out how to crack that code and make interesting content. Like similar to what State Farm is doing with Jake from State Farm and with Caitlin Clark and stuff like that, but just at a statewide level.
Yeah, no, this is really interesting. I think you hit on a couple of things there. The first thing that jumps out at me, which is, again, it's kind of obvious when you really think about it, but I think a lot of people don't, is so many times this is common in sales, right? You go in with like a limiting mindset, right? Of like, oh no, if I ask for $600 or $700, is that too much? Are they going to freak out? And again, it depends on the type of client, but you offer it for $600-700 a month to a big enough client, they're going to turn you down because it's not enough money, because it's not worth their effort, right? So it kind of, shows you where this model can be, as far as, yeah, some companies $500 is like way too much, but then others it's like, no, you got to be charging more than that to make it worth their time to go through the process, right? Which is
Yeah.
great
And our
to
and
think
our
about.
goal was never to price out any of like there are small businesses and a lot of times like I'll just go and make a video or put them in the newsletter if they're a small business for free because it's like good,
Yeah.
it's like the
Yeah.
right thing to do.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
because we have the corporate partners that take care of us, like it helps us take care of the businesses
Mm-hmm.
that whose marketing budget is $500 annually. Like for a year, they're going to spend $500 and that's like it's between do they buy one ad with us or do they sponsor the local little league team? Like I don't want them to
You don't
not
want to take
sponsor the
that away.
local little league team. No, I'll just make a video about like and you can see it throughout all of our content. Like we have time and time again like gone out of our way to promote small businesses. And people also then watch our promoted videos and watch our like click our promoted content because they know that by getting the corporate partners, they're also helping us support small business in Indiana.
Wanted to tell you real quick about 3 ways I can help you. So the first way is join our free Discord. So I opened a Discord. I want to be able to chat with listeners here. I get so many ideas from you guys. I want to have some of you on the show. I want to help as much as I can, reasonably, of course. It's going to be free. So just jump in there, ask me questions. I'll host some office hours occasionally, and let's see how we can help each other. Number 2 is our software that we built called Local Newsletter OS. It's what we're using to help us streamline all of our processes. Creating a local newsletter is complex on the internet, going to so many different sites, using AI tools. We basically streamline this all into one so that it's much simpler for to use and for your team. It's really a great software that we're going to build into something truly amazing over time. Right now, it just helps with your newsletter. Over time, it will also help with your website and directory and all kinds of things. So jump on there. Again, the resources for both of those are on localmediahq.com. Finally is helping you actually consistently build your newsletter. So we've got options for do it yourself, where we give you all the tools, training, software, all of it. We've got one where we kind of do it with you, which is, consulting plus doing your growth and meta ad side. And then of course we have it done for you where literally we will do everything. So all of this stuff you can get on localmediahq.com. So go over there, check it out, and back to the show. Sounds great. So, I think you're spot on here. Again, we talk about this a lot in general, which is like the bigger businesses that are also really boring. Again, you hint at your biggest one is like insurance. I come from an insurance background. Nobody wants to, in general, on the corporate, socials, like nobody engages with that stuff, right? It's crazy. Like nobody cares because they also have so many regulations. They can't make actually interesting content on their own, I think sometimes. But that those are ideal advertisers because they've got the money, yet they have the difficulty of creating good enough content for people to care. So that makes a ton of sense. Now, maybe before I ask you specifically like how you got in front of these people, what other industries are your bigger advertisers in? Like, just to give people an idea, who's paying well?
Yeah,
What industries?
so insurance, banking,
Yeah.
accounting, so like finance
Okay.
side. Um,
Healthcare?
and then
Do
we're like figuring out the right one from a healthcare perspective.
Okay.
So like I would say we don't have
In talks.
nothing in the bag there on healthcare.
Okay.
Apartment, like housing, apartment real estate. So
Okay.
like individual realtor as well as multifamily development. So like, hey, you're moving to Indianapolis and you're looking for an apartment. That's been a big one. We do have a large restaurant group. They
Restaurant
own
group. Okay.
they have 7 different restaurants, different concepts across central Indiana.
Nice.
Some home services, so like a plumbing company and like
Yep.
a handyman service. That's a pretty big area there. I'm trying to think. I think those are like the
Those are the
biggest.
big ones? Okay.
Like an apparel brand,
Interesting. Arrow.
and
Okay.
yeah. Well, they have a 2 of them have like direct to consumer stores, like pretty big, like high volume stores on like off the interstate, and they spend a lot on billboards to like get people in through
Yeah.
the door. And so like adding a digital layer to that
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
been cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
I
Okay.
think those are some of our biggest partners.
Yeah, no, that's definitely helpful. So, okay, here's I think the big question. Again, me personally, I have this question. I think a lot of people listening probably do too. So, how do we get in front of these companies? I mean, when you think of, let's use the one you example, right? Farm Bureau, which people don't know, it's like State Farm, Allstate, whatever. It's just another competitor to that. So, Farm Bureau
Yeah.
in Indiana, and these other ones. How are you getting in front of the deal makers, the people who can actually make these decisions? Because I feel like that's where many of us are struggling. Is we get who we should be going after, but how do you get in front of the right people who can say yes?
Yeah. So for that one specifically, I was a customer. Like I was like they were who had my insurance. So I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
I
Okay.
use Indiana State Farm or Indiana Farm Bureau insurance."
Yeah.
Okay? So I
Yep.
talked to my agent and I got him to sponsor when I did the whole Indy 500 thing. He put his logo on the side of my truck. Like I sold a bunch of
Okay.
like I made it look like a race car. Like you know how they sell little
Mm-hmm.
sponsorships. I sold
Mm-hmm.
that. He put his logo and his little QR code and he got two new deals from putting his QR code on the side of my truck. And it was like that deal was like $500. Like the local agent had like has like authority up to like a couple $1,000s a quarter or something like that to like sponsor the little league team and to buy a billboard or do whatever. So I started small. Okay. So he did it year one. Then when this past year came around, he I asked him to introduce me to their big marketing person, like their bigger marketing team, to do like a little bit broader of a partnership because he was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I got two new customers from spending $500, and like we were involved in this cool Indiana thing. We're totally game. So he introduced me up the chain, and I talked about how, oh yeah, my local agent had this. Like, I'd love to do a broader partnership with y'all. And we did one video about again their car insurance is a piece of it, and it was the history of transportation to the Indianapolis 500. So we did a video together. It got I don't know 10 or 12,000 views. Their like typical video had gotten like 100 views, 200 views. So like we blew it out of the water from like what they had historically done, and that just like we just were able to stair step that into an annual deal by like at each stage of that starting small and growing big and like asking for a personal like eventually at some point I had to ask for the personal
Yeah.
introduction to the people, but like a lot of times people are willing to do that, and your local agent is like gonna be excited about that. Like they want like whoever your person is like, oh yeah, we want you to succeed and do well. But I was a customer, so I like had known about them, and that also gets you off on the right foot where they're like, well, we're not gonna like not take our customers call. Like
Yeah.
so typically like that
Yeah.
was for that one. The
Okay.
rest of them um came from like you just have to get one going, I feel like. Like I mean, freaking who talked about this? I mean Dave Portnoy talked about this with Barstool, where he would just like put a random advertiser in his newsletter, in his newspaper, and the competitor of that would call and say, we want to be an advertiser. And then he put the random like he put a steakhouse in. The steakhouse was calling saying like, yo, why did you put us in here? I don't think we bought this. He's like, oh, it must have been a mix up. The competitor's calling and saying, hey, put us in there. And so like a lot of it was like just get one to like bite, just get one to bite and be an advertiser with you and blow it out of the water for them. And then when by advertising your other partners, like when I advertise a plumber, like then the roofer calls. When I advertise one bank, then like the other banks are like, "Oh, I didn't even know." And like and I would say loyal in that phase where I don't like I won't just like end a relationship with one group just to chase the next one. It's like, no, we're sorry, they were like the first movers on this.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep working and growing with them. And when you tell advertisers like you that like no, when you get to that point, it is powerful, I'd
They
say.
want you more, right? Like they've never been told no, like to take, they're offering money and you're saying I don't want to take it. That's something people
Yep.
are not used to in marketing. Yeah. No,
No.
that's really interesting.
Yeah, and like when you have relevance, like I think that the key of all this is eyeballs. Like, yes, you constantly have to think of new ideas and new concepts to like constantly stay relevant. But if you're in the center of attention and whatever your thing is, like your advertisers want to be where the attention is. Like whether like we're taking billboard budgets, we're taking old school radio budgets or newspaper budgets, like or even like the Facebook like normal ad spend. It's like what is someone's CPM on Facebook and like if you get not only your creative as well as your like ad spend paid for there, like it makes sense. Like I'm gonna go in there and make a fun video, blind taste testing 4 different beers, and like they were gonna have to like have an agency or someone like help them create this, and then they were gonna have to pay to promote it on Facebook. It's like this is a 2-for-1 special.
I love it. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that. So it sounds to me like one of the things I'm hearing that probably most people aren't doing. I know I'm not. It sounds like you are really focused on, let's just call it super high quality content on the social media side, like the video side. Like, you know, I mean, I was just talking to somebody today, kind of, a boring-ish type of business. But I was like, okay, what was I thinking I was going to do for them on the social side? It was like, okay, either I'll go film some B-roll, they'll film some B-roll, I'll tell them to kind of write something that we should say over it or whatever, and that would be kind of it, right? And it sounds like that's not what you're doing, right? You are like being really creative, coming at things from a how do we create the most engaging video with this advertiser, especially if it's a boring advertiser, figuring out an
Yeah.
exciting way to make a video about that. Am I right about that? That you're going way above and beyond on the social media video effort, essentially.
I would say it's not like high production, like quality. It's not like we're using like
Yeah,
4K
yeah, yeah,
cinematic.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
almost like it's just like a bunch of guys out there with their iPhone.
It's
I would for
creativity.
yeah,
Right.
like that part and energy.
Yeah.
And if I thought about where we're winning across the state, it's like, okay, I'm not the smartest person. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm not good at. I have a really good team. Like, I got really lucky to find like editors that I mean my first short form editor, he's now going to be a senior at Purdue. He's phenomenal. He's so good, and he's like a college student, but like he lives in the internet, like he
Hmm.
knows what produces on the internet. Like, I don't need a master's degree in cinematography to know like
No.
how to get a million views on the internet. Like I need someone who's watched a million times, like watched a million videos on the
Hmm.
internet to go there. So like I got really lucky to have a great team, and I knew that like we are one like 99th percentile in energy. So like I showed up and was a plumber for a day, and I just like did normal plumber things. Like they gave me a wrench instead to start cranking, and like it's just funny and entertaining, and it markets that they're the experts and I'm not. And like everyone knows when you
Hmm.
try to like do a home project, like you always end up drenched, and then you try to save $100 and you end up spending 1,000 to get your problem
Hmm.
and the problem you just created fixed. So it's like an easy video concept. And like I'm not the first person to ever do that. There are national people that have
Dude,
done stuff like this, but we're just doing it on an Indiana scale.
dude. Okay.
Um,
First of all, I freaking love what you just said. Number one, it is not obvious. I would not have thought of be a plumber for a day and make a video out of that. So no, that is not obvious. That's a great idea. However, I understand your point of like, yes, it's not genius level. For somebody who's in the viral social media space, probably would have thought of that, right? But the point is, most of us as operators in this space are not in that world, right? Yet it makes so much sense. And I love what you said at the end there, because I think about this a lot with everything that we do in this space of think about things that work on a national or worldwide basis in any respect, whether it's social media, whether it's writing, internet, like everything. Think of things that are popular and then think how you can make a localized version. I mean, I think I've said it on the show before of like, again, this isn't a great example because we wouldn't do exactly what he's doing, but just the obvious, like, okay, Mr. Beast is doing all these things. Can you make Mr. Beast style content at a local level? And
yeah.
it sounds like that's
Like
sort of what
I
you're doing.
just got a write up in our like it's called the Indianapolis Monthly magazine. It's like
Mm-hmm.
20 something. They're like Instagram bio says they are like Indiana or Indianapolis's original influencer, which I think is pretty cool. And they
Nice.
did a write up and they said this is guys like regional Mr. Beast. Like I ate 4 tenderloins in one day to like convince people to go out and celebrate Tenderloin Tuesday. I ran 31 miles down a local trail to convince people to run a 5K. Like I've done like these crazy social media gimmicks in order to like encourage people like to do whatever the thing is because that's what gets views. But I would say like even on a newsletter site because I know a lot of people that listen to the show are in the newsletter space, like find your favorite newsletters and like the content and the advertising and everything that's in it and consume like a creator. Like I am so knowledgeable now on what draws me in and I can like almost catch myself when I'm doom scrolling of like, I know how that caught me in. Or like when a
Yep.
newsletter is just so good and the subject line is spectacular, I can like stop and be like, okay, let's break down this film. How did I end up doom scrolling for an hour or whatever? And it was like, oh, because this video had this hook, and then it brought me into this one, and then like, and then I say, okay, well, I am constantly sending those videos to people on our team, like, we need to make this, or sending a newsletter, hey, we need to do more of this because I couldn't stop reading this thing. This is so good. And I'm like, and we're good about like in our Slack community, like our internal team Slack of like, yo, so and so crushed this edit, so and so crushed this newsletter, like blah blah blah, and just helping learn from each other about how we're creating.
Man, I love this. Um, well, it sounds like, yeah, so much of your success comes with this team, which is awesome. And so that I'm super curious. So how did you find these people? Are these all Indiana people? I mean, you already said one guy's in Purdue, you said a local mom.
Yeah,
So yeah,
everyone is based in the state of Indiana, and I've been really intentional about that too. Like for me, like, is there cheaper places to find labor? Yes, there absolutely is. But for me, it was just like I am like it makes the whole thing work. I'm making Hoosier content with Hoosiers for Hoosiers, powered by, like sponsored by
yeah,
Hoosiers. So we
yeah,
don't take national advertisers either. Like, and a lot of times national advertisers will see like, oh, you have 70 whatever thousand, like you should talk about X, Y, or Z. And we've said no to a lot of those because it's like where's your tie to
not
Indiana?
right. Yeah,
Um, so like by hiring locals that are already doing it, this has been the key. Because I'm chronically online, I like know who's making good videos. And I'm like, oh, they might not be going super viral yet, but with a little bit of like coaching and feedback and being a part of a team, like we can take this from where they are today to where they want to be in the future. So like with the original editor, I knew him when he was in high school. So I'm also a wrestling coach. Like that's like kind of my passion project is I'm a high school wrestling coach. This kid was on our team and I just like stayed in touch, and he created a car TikTok when he was a freshman in college, and he grew it to like 40,000 followers. And I was like, oh, if he knows how to get eyeballs on the internet, I was like, hey man, I've been doing this. I'm growing. Like, I'd love to pay you to be part of our team. And you could also use our studio and equipment to grow your brand too. And so he's like, yeah. And he's like now, edited videos that, I mean, he has to be over 15 million views on stuff that he's edited. Like you go, like imagine like going to like any job that's like, yeah, I've edited videos that have gotten 15 million views. Like your average, like whoever it is going to be super pumped up about that. The mom out of Fitchers, like she had started a local podcast with her sister because she loved it. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. You care about your community that much to start this podcast? Like, you should be part of what we're doing. And like, we can help, with the monetization side, but we can't ever help someone just like have a diehard burning passion for where they live. Like, that part has to, like, by putting that on display and by creating content, like, we learned about that and then tried to plug them in somewhere within our company.
that's really interesting. So you are finding people who are basically say already doing it in your area as opposed to putting out a job ad, right? Oh, I'm looking for somebody who wants to write for this
Yeah.
or whatever. Because
Yeah,
that's a
because
different way of
like
doing it.
the right person is already doing it. And like this is the kind of job where if you don't want to if you wouldn't do it for free, like getting paid is not going to help you. It's not going to make you any better at it. Like if you want to be a creator or a social media or a podcast host or anything, like bro, you're not going to get the right thing from a job interview. If you want to be a newsletter writer, like get someone who's writing something, like who's writing weekly, who's writing daily, who just loves doing it. And then, and then you offer on a couple dollars on top of that. Like those are the superstars. But if it's like, oh, I would love to make videos if I got paid for it. Like, it's just never going to work. I don't think so. Like if you look at all these media companies, like a lot of their best talent, we're doing this job for free. Like I was doing this job because I wanted my podcast to succeed. So I started putting out a ton of videos, and I was doing that for free, and then it ends up becoming the career path.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is a really good idea. And this is what again, I'm just kind of doing it kind of quickly in where I live, but the person I got somebody to help me do social media content. She's making about a video a day. Again, they're green screen videos for now, but she was already doing it. I did the same thing. I actually just I wasn't even looking for her. I just stumbled across her, and I was like, "Oh, you're already doing this. Do you want to do this where there's a built-in audience and where you have this brand around you and all this?" She's like, "Of
Yeah.
course."
And
Um,
and like a lot of times you don't like and the economics can work on that too. Like and I'm pretty transparent of like, hey, we pay our people, like we make sure that they're getting paid. Like I'm not over here like asking people to, help pad my pockets. It's like, hey, we're reinvesting us in this company and community and like as we keep growing, good things are gonna happen. And so like people are like, oh man, I would have written this blog post once a week for free. You're gonna pay me 20, 30, $50 for this? Like okay, and it just like brings this community aspect of people helping us create this content.
yeah, no, I love this. This is great. Hey, how much have you thought at all about monetization outside of ads, like sponsorships? Essentially, a lot of people who I talk to, and a lot of the talk around local media companies. I'm one of the biggest proponents. Is if possible, trying to find other ways to generate revenue outside of sponsorship. Are you doing anything right now?
Well, I mean, we tried a paid newsletter. We were like, oh, we have so many free. It's just like I think that it's hard when people are used to having it for free to start paying for something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
that
all
would
about how you
be.
communicate that too. Like, how do you? So we launched a new product that was a paid like an event roundup of the entire state and like there would always be at least one event within like a 30-minute drive of your zip code. Like we were like, you're talking about circles here and like Google Maps and stuff, like making sure that everyone had something within 30 minutes of them. And we got to like seven, maybe pay like $3 a month, seven. And I was like,
Mhm.
bro, this is not, no, let's just like, if I slap an ad in that,
Yeah, make
it
way
can
more.
be $500. So, tried that. We did merch. Like this is a merch drop.
Hmm.
I'm just like so particular that I don't want to just slap my logo on something and like constantly sell it. So we do everything in drops. So like we sold out of our first hat drop in like 25 minutes or something like that, like pretty quickly.
Oh,
Then we tried a high ticket and that was 50 of them. Then we just tried these $99 hoodies that were like pretty exclusive and we didn't do as well on those. So like we've tried the merch thing. We've heard about events like, honestly, it kind of feels like those have been shiny car syndrome for me a little bit of like, hey, what's working right now is working with advertisers and making sure that they're really happy and they're all renewing. So like we just went through our renewal season. We're having advertisers renew for year two, and I'm like, cool. Let's just keep cooking there and growing our business that way incrementally, and then the right opportunity will present itself. Whether that is like we have a lot of people reach out about being their agency and so and I'm like we don't
yeah.
really want to do that, but like if I
Yeah.
had a partner where I was like, hey, our referral agency is here, our blah 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 is
Hmm.
here, like there are ways to get some interesting, like for whether it's houses or mortgages or like whatever, there's ways to
Yep.
get uh bigger than advertising rev shares there.
So that's just something maybe on the radar, but just not anything you're putting a lot of effort in yet.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about them and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm vigilant, but like the ones that we've tried up, like we'll do merch and we'll do, we've talked about like paid subscribers and paid community and like a Patreon and it's just, um, I don't know. I think that there's a real art to being able to get people so passionate about like swiping their credit card for the content that you put out. And a lot of that comes from, um, I don't like confidence or like assurance that like this is the best like we like I don't know. I met this guy or not met, I listened to a podcast and he was like their journalism up in Canada. I don't know, maybe you've seen this
Yeah, I know
one.
this guy, the
And he like
lookout. I think guy, yeah.
yes, look out. And it
Hmm.
was like he's just so sure that this is great journalism, like the best journalism and I was like kudos to you, man. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Um
That's definitely a
so
different
I don't know.
model than what most of us are doing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I would feel interesting about like getting like you have to find the product that you don't need advertisers in that people are just like chomping at the bit to get. And right now, like the local positive restaurant, like feel good space is pretty saturated. A lot of people are giving that out for free. So I just want to be the best one of those. Like I want to be the
Maybe.
best creator. I want to create the best content and put no barriers to entry to people. And then like believe that we can work with the biggest brands in the state and make them happy too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. That's great. So where do you see yourself in, call it 3 to 5 years? Like what are you shooting for? What are you striving for to build this brand
Yeah.
into?
Um, 3 to 5 years, we're owning the state of Indiana. Like we're gonna
Hmm.
have more media distribution than any other company in the state of Indiana. Like the goal would be okay, wait, I'll take that back. Besides Pat McAfee, because he's based here in Indy and he's
Oh,
just
okay.
like I mean, he's the ultimate like his
That's a sports
everyone like
guy though, right? Like,
yeah,
so that's
esports.
like a different
Yeah, but like when you think
audience.
of like Indiana media, like I want
Oh,
to
okay.
be the company, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
locals will get that. Like Pat is just he has a huge show,
yeah.
but like get to the point where if we this is a sports analogy again, but like if Caitlin Clark gets drafted to the Fever, like the next Caitlin Clark, her PR team is reaching out to us saying like, hey, we want her to come on your show. Like if we want people in Indiana to know her story and love her, like they got to go on Nate's show. Um, so like continue to grow that out, continue to bring on more creators. Again, like
Yeah.
people that don't look like me, don't think like me, don't create like me, like have them in the mix here so that they can share what their story of Indiana is. Like hit all there's 92 counties in the state of Indiana. Like make sure that all 92 of these counties are getting um just content that makes them proud to be from Indiana and just like changes this perspective of there's nothing going on here. It's a flyover state, blah 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 blah. Like I want people to wake up in the morning and be like, I am inspired by the content that I've been seeing, and I am motivated to make my little slice of the world better.
No, I love that. As far as the creator side, I think about this a lot. As far as again, us building that, you're doing a great job at the state level to have these like sub brands, call it like the Fishers, whatever. That's like a sub brand of the big brand. But when you think of bringing on creators, which I think about a lot of the value to them, but how do you think about paying them, if at all, or is it more of a like a salary type of thing? Is it a hey, I'll give you X% of the ad revenue we're getting, or I'll pay you per video or per newsletter. Like, if you don't have
I
this figured
have
out, like, do you have any
I
general
have
thoughts there?
not cracked the code.
Not okay.
I would encourage people and I would say like this is a polarizing brand, but they have the modern media thing figured out. Is like the Barstool Sports
Yeah.
model of
How do they
like
do it? I don't know.
they sign contracts. So like, hey, we're like it's like a talent contract. Like we're
Yeah.
signing you for $100,000 a year for the next 3 years. At the end, we can go through renegotiations, blah 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 blah. And like what usually happens is someone comes in on the front side, does their 3 year contract, and then at the other side, graduates out of it, and like FanDuel or whoever comes and picks them up to, sign them for X amount of money. So like there's something there in regards to how talent contracts work. It's very similar to how like my like local news, like an anchor will sign a 18-month or 24-month long deal. And at the end of their deal, they can then renegotiate for more or get poached by a bigger market or whatever that might be. So I think there's something there. I think that I haven't cracked the code there. And um I kind of like currently what I'm doing is I just have the conversation with all of our employees, like kind of in one-on-one settings, like, hey, one, how do you feel? Like, and we have like open book financials too. So like everyone knows, like they know how much money's in our bank account today. They know how much money each person makes. So it's like, I mean, all the full-time employees anyway. Like,
Yeah.
and then the contractor type people like have a pretty good grasp for what they're making too, and we offer incentives and raises based on performance. Like, hey, when you get your first million views on your content, like we're gonna give you $1 per hour pay bump. So I try to
Hmm.
just be like transparent, and then have honest conversations with our employees of like, if you think you deserve more, like talk to me and we can figure
Hmm.
that out.
Hmm. Interesting.
So
Yeah.
if anyone does out there have the code of how to hire and develop talent, um, from like the on screen or behind the keyboard talent, I'm really interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me too, for sure. Reach out to either one of us. Um, Hey, Nate, this has been absolutely killer. Really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to leave people with? Where to follow you, your channels, your
Yeah.
newsletters, your personal,
So
whatever. Where do you want to leave people?
you can find me at Nate Spangle. You can find our company at Get Indiana. Like that's gonna be hyper Indiana new. Like so if you're like in you if you want to see like what we're putting out there and like like I mean we have some wild concepts and some of them flop and some of them do well. If you want to read our newsletters, like you can find that Get Indiana, Get South Bend, Get Fishers. Like there's gonna be more of those coming out. But I would say like the key to this whole thing is like if you're getting into this business just to make money, you're toasted. Like, and people can see through that. Like every day we have people that come into our office and like want to be here and want to like are just innately curious about Indiana. Like we'll just like sit down in the morning and be like, wait, why is that the way it is? Or why is like blah 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 and like we'll just go on this internet rabbit hole and then document the process of what we learned about whatever the thing is. And so I think that if you are the type of person who has that innate curiosity, like this is the right business for you and this is the right space to be in, and people and your audience on the other side will be able to tell that.
Yeah, no, totally agree. That's a great way to leave it. Yeah, appreciate you coming on, Nate. Would love to have you on again soon as you figure some of this out because you're already crushing it, but I could see where you're going to crush it even more relatively soon. So hope to hear
Bro,
about that in the
appreciate
future.
you.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks so
sir.
much, Nate. See ya.
Good to talk.